Well, it has been a long day. I've been working on this Toyota Camry, getting it kind of fixed. As you can see on the cluster here, we've still got several messages coming up, a lot of lights, and yeah, we're still having lots of issues, it appears. Or are we? Well, we have power steering, but like I showed y'all before, we had power steering. It just took it a minute to start. So if I turn the car off, I'll crank it back. If you remember, like as soon as I cranked it, it was like real hard, and then after 20 seconds or so, it would get easy and start moving. So let's see if that's better. Instantly. As soon as the engine started. So that's better, but like I said, we still got all these lights, all these messages. What are they all about? Well, I'm not really sure how much more this is gonna need. I do know that when I was test driving it during my rant about the dealership, and it was actually a dealership in Florida. I wish I could remember the city. They wouldn't tell me the name of it, but they told me the city. I wish I remembered it, but I don't. It seems like it started with an L, but I don't know. But anyways, sorry. Throat's a little dry. If you remember, though, when I was test driving it, there was some other issues, like the window switches doesn't work. Okay, well, the driver one does, and I have the passenger one working now, and that's actually a pretty simple fix. On the scan tool here, we can see the rear left door says its initialization is incomplete, and the rear right door, same thing, the glass position initialization incomplete. So if we get back here and just roll the window down, let it sit for a second, we'll roll it all the way back up. We let it do its learn thing, and now if I use this button, so there we go. That's an easy fix. Well, what about the turn signals? The turn signals wouldn't work. Well, they actually work now. Why does the turn signals go through the ABS module or the power steering module? I have no idea. I don't know which one it goes through, but it's got to go through one of them, and that is the craziest thing ever. I guess maybe the power steering module somehow has the clicker thing, like you know the old cars, you turn the wheel so far and you'd hear it click and it would reset the turn signal. Maybe that's in the power steering module now. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but the turn signals now work. But we've got some other issues. You can see down here in the ABS and some other modules, there's several codes. But it's not that serious. We had the blind spot and the collision, was it cross traffic error messages? Well, they are because of a vehicle speed sensor and the blind spot monitor slave. The master, of course, sets the same codes. The RCW rear camera, that is the rear camera module, will speed sensor malfunction. And also, if I put this in reverse, we see malfunction, visit your dealer. So it is also saying there's a wheel speed sensor malfunction. So if we go into the ABS module here, we can see that it has an issue with the right rear wheel speed sensor. It says it's open, let's see, short to ground or open. And then sensor internal electronic failure. That's the two codes there. So whatever happened, it looks like it killed the right rear wheel speed sensor also. Now the other codes in the electronic power steering, it's only one code. It says there's two, but it's only one. I don't know that I can fix it. We put used parts on this because first off, the guy was like, you know, I don't want to invest a super ton of money in this thing just for there be other stuff to be, you know, going wrong. He wanted to kind of minimize his risk. So instead of spending thousands of dollars on new modules from the dealer, he was lucky and was able to get some out of a salvage yard from a car just like this. And so they got the ABS module and the power steering rack both out of it. I spent all day today putting those on here, but the power steering module says error matching of ECUs. That seems like software, hardware part number issues. I was in a hurry and I did not verify part numbers, but it didn't matter. He wanted me to stick them on. So it is in here. It does work, but we've got that code. Now, on service information, it does say when you have this code, if the rack was replaced, there's a note, and I'll put a screenshot of it here for you. It says that if the rack's been replaced, you need to do a 0-point calibration and a torque angle relearn. Well, I can't really do the torque angle relearn. I tried torque sensor adjustment here, and yep, we're just going to hit OK because I know it's going to fail. See, there we go. Torque sensor adjustment has failed due to DTCs are present, even though the DTCs we have are not those. But either way, it's not happy about something, and I'm hoping that once this ABS sensor codes go away, the 0-point calibration can be run through and the torque sensor relearn can be done. And I'm hoping these error matching of ECUs will clear. If not, he's gonna have to get a different power steering module, and this could be a thing of used modules, maybe not wanting to be swapped between cars. I don't know. I don't do enough Toyotas to know. But, you know, at least now we've got a clear path of what's left with this car. And I think if we're down to, hey, you got to buy a brand new rack, he'll probably be fine with that, and he'll probably do that. He just didn't want to buy a brand new rack and a brand new ABS module and then still have a BCM bad or a cluster bad or something else. You know, he just didn't, he wanted to minimize his risk. So that is where we're at with this thing. I'm actually fixing to go deliver it. I'm going to let them get the rear wheel speed sensor is made into the hub. So I'm fixing to be going on vacation because, well, today's the 3rd, so tomorrow's the 4th. And Friday I'm leaving on vacation for a week. You know, gotta have that family time. Everybody should be getting vacations. So I'll be going on vacation for a week. They're going to get a wheel speed sensor or a hub for this thing, put it in here, and I'll walk them through how to do the 0-point and stuff like that. And hopefully this car will be gone. If not, I'm sure it'll be sitting here waiting for me when I get back. So we'll see in a week or so when I get back. But I've when I first started this, I kind of thought something happened with the power steering that killed the ABS module. I have since changed my mind. And let me get this delivered, and when I get back, I'll show you. Originally, I thought maybe the power steering module was the culprit in killing the ABS module. I have changed my mind because I destroyed these things taking them apart, because I wanted to see what kind of, I don't know, catastrophe, I guess you would say, we had in here. And the power steering module is kind of actually pretty cool. It uses these big, massive MOSFETs to control a 3-phase motor, and it reverse polarities it or something, it seems like. So you got like a positive side and a negative side. So I don't really know exactly how it works, but it's got the power supply here for it that would run the motor, the MOSFETs, the heat sink here, and then the actual circuit board, which this side doesn't have a whole lot going on. And yeah, see, I destroyed these things taking them apart, so I didn't care. It's bad. But on this side, we've got the MCU, a output controller, and that right there, I'm pretty sure is an EEPROM. And what I found with this thing is kind of right the opposite of what I thought happened. I figured something in here, high current, went bad, shorted out the CAN bus, and damaged something over here on the ABS module. That's not what happened. Something with this went bad and killed this. Now, if you remember, with this plugged up, we had CAN lines shorted together into ground. And it makes perfect sense, and I can tell you just from looking at the board what part went bad. And I might have to put this into the microscope so you guys can see here. And let me get it lined up here. There we go. This little guy right here is what's bad. Now I can tell that just from looking at the circuit. So like I was explaining in the other video, you usually have a CAN bus transceiver with a filter. Well, here's the filter. Like, it is exactly like some of the other ones that I showed you. You see that? You've got the data lines coming into it, and then they come out on this side and go off to the MOSFET, or not the MOSFET, the MCU on the other side of the board. They come in right here on these two pins. Well, you see these two pins go to that little chip. So let's get this back under here. Okay. So this little chip is the culprit, because CAN lines bridged together inside and shorted to ground. I have no idea what this little guy does, but I'm pretty confident this is the issue. If I took this chip off, this thing would probably communicate just fine. Like I said, some of these circuits, some of these CAN bus circuits have filters and stuff like this. This is pre-filter, okay? So it could have easily been damaged by something else going on with the CAN bus network. So the ABS module is what died first. This thing died and it killed this thing. How do I know this died first? Well, like I said, now we got an ABS fault code, and it's for the right rear wheel speed sensor. In the shop that I took the car back to, they are getting one. He said he'd probably try to get it done Monday, which I'll be gone, But either way, they're going to try to get that put in Monday or next week sometime. But anyways, this board has a bad spot in it. It's not just the board. It is one of the main processor chips. I'm sure one of these is an actual MCU. I don't really know which, but I'm sure you can probably see in the light that little dimple right there. And if I get this thing under the microscope just right, it's gonna move around on me too much, but this is gonna be hard for y'all to see on the camera. So I gotta kind of move the light just right to get it to where you can see it. And I may not be able to again. I had it earlier and I moved it, but there is an actual crack in right here, right at the edge of that 4. There's a crack there, and that's where that little, it's like an out ping. So that chip blew up. I don't know what caused that chip to blow up, but that chip has blown up, and I'm pretty sure that is what caused the CAN bus to get malfunctioned. You can almost every now and then see that crack right there, just barely. But I'll try to get a good in focus picture of that and post it here. But the ABS module is the root cause of this. It is what went bad first. I don't know what caused it to go bad. Could have just been a defective module. I don't know, but whatever did that is what took out that little chip in this thing. As y'all seen on the screen, it says like N7 on it or something like that. I'm sure somebody out there probably can leave down in the comments what that little chip is and what it does. But ABS modules, the root cause. Power steering module was a casualty of it. Rear wheel speed sensor, a casualty of it. So it's unfortunate the dealer in Florida done what they did and basically screwed this customer over, because I still, after replacing these 2 parts, looking this car over, I still cannot find anything that would have caused this. No wreck damage, even though that's what they said. There is no wreck damage. I can't see what would have done that. Well, if I'm remembering correctly, where I left you guys off and I went on vacation, I had put the power steering module in and the used ABS module, and we found out that there's a code setting for, if I remember right, the right rear wheel speed sensor. And I told you guys it's gonna have the shop that brought this thing to me repair that. They did. They got a new hub with a speed sensor in it, put it in this thing, and that code cleared. And I was hoping that after that, the ECU mismatch codes for the power steering module would then go away, because it would then let me do the initialization relearns and things like that. That wasn't the case. Even after the wheel speed sensor issue is fixed and there was absolutely no codes in the car other than this ECU mismatch fault, I still could not make the power steering happy with the car. And really, it was just a wrong part number module. So we got another one, and I've already swapped it out. This is the wrong one, even though everything about it looks correct. The part number that's on this thing, if I can get it to focus here, that's the wrong part number for this car. It's just, I don't know what it didn't like. There is a few options with this car. There's the cruise option. The scan tool asks, is it radar cruise or is it other? I guess the cruise control could be tied in with the power steering module for some reason. We know the steering angle sensor runs through this module. There is also electronic parking brake or not. This is a manual parking brake car. I don't know if that would affect power steering, but either way, there's something about that power steering module that wasn't happy with the car. So the owner of the car got on eBay, and he actually got real lucky and found somebody selling just the module motor part with the correct part number, put it in here, and went through the initialization, relearn stuff. There's actually a memory reset and then a initialization, I think it was, that relearns kind of everything, the 0-point calibration and stuff like that. However, I did still have an issue where the rear camera wouldn't turn the steering wheel lines, and the message, what was it, rear camera detection unavailable, that message was still popping up on the cluster. That took me a little bit to figure out, and frankly, like with all data, I couldn't find the information that I needed. So since I had a subscription to GTS Plus, I actually got the subscription to see if there was something hidden with this car that would make the steering angle relearn with the radio, and I didn't find it. But in Toyota service information, their search function is far superior than AllData's search function when looking for things like this just random message that we had. And it actually, and I'll post some screenshots in here, it actually led me to a page of how to calibrate the park assist system. And part of the park assist system is the rear camera, and I'll show you the process that it led me to. And I was real close on it when I was just kind of Google searching around trying to figure out how to relearn this steering angle sensor, but the OE service information told me the little tidbit of information that I needed to know. So the steering angle actually relearns through the radio. So let me sit y'all down here where you guys can kind of see. Some of you probably know, some of you probably don't if you don't work on a lot of Toyotas. There's a hidden service menu in these radios, and for this radio to get to it, you need to press and hold the audio button, and then you sit here and turn the headlights on and off several times, and then it'll pop it up on the screen here. So let me show you that. So I'm just holding audio and then running the headlights on and off. There we go. Service menu. And in this menu, we have function check. We have all these other things here, and we needed camera setting. So I got to this screen just from Google searching, but this is grayed out. It doesn't let you do anything with it. Now, camera detection settings, we can go in there and we can turn on and off the rear camera detection, and I did turn it off, and the message that would pop up over here would actually go away, but when the screen was still in reverse, it still wouldn't turn the steering lines, and we still had like an exclamation point up here in the top corner. I think I've probably got that on video. If so, I'll post like a screen capture of that in here of what I'm talking about. But this screen, the service information told me that this should be grayed out, and what you actually have to do is hold this for several seconds, and then it comes up with the signal check, and we're okay. So everything on the CAN bus is good, it's fine, and we hit next, and then we can do, it's two different steps you got to do. You need to have the steering wheel straight, car needs to be flat. Okay, so we'll just run through this again. So the steering wheel is straight, and when you click center memorize, this is basically going to relearn the center point of the steering wheel, and that's it. Now the next thing you would have to do is click max steering angle memorize. So you click this, or wait, let's see, after you do this, click that, then you have to go full left, and then full right, and then back to center, and get it back straight. Probably not gonna look straight to y'all, but it'll look straight to me. And then you should be able to click this. There we go. And that is how you relearn the steering angle on this car for the camera. It's not necessarily the car relearning the steering angle, it's just for the camera. So now if we go back out of here, I don't actually know how you're supposed to get out of this screen other than just turn the car off and then restart it. That's the only way I know to do it. Service information didn't really say how to exit the setting. If it did, I overlooked it. But now when we put this thing in reverse, and right here it's telling us it was in service mode, and we're returning to normal, so we're going to hit OK. But when we go into reverse, we don't have the exclamation point up here, we don't have the message down here, and if I turn the steering wheel, we now have these steering grid lines that turn with the wheel. So this car is now almost fixed, and if you watched part 2, you know that there is 2 other issues with this car that I have now found out after driving it that it has, and we'll be diagnosing that in the next part. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys on the next one.